49, 49, undefeated, playing for the Arsenal way.
Hello and welcome to the Arsenal Way, back again with you guys for another episode of our Arsenal Agenda series, joining you 10 a.m. every weekday morning. I'm joined by Chris. How you doing, mate? You good? You well?
I'm very well, thank you, TC. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Not too bad at all. Really interested to see kind of this US tour and how it's going to go. The players landed, of course. I'm enjoying the social clips already and seeing some behind-the-scenes stuff. I like the humanising of the squad a lot. You know, it's something I think Arsenal have needed to do more of. The Amazon documentary will do even more of that. And this Hale End documentary that's out will also do that too. So I'm looking forward to seeing the behind-the-scenes stuff. I know a lot of people have travelled out to the US or, of course, are in the US already and making their travels across the states to get to Florida. Our very own Kai Karnak is out there now after some brief delays at the airport, but he did finally make it. And a lot of other friends of ours are out there too. So we wish them an absolutely fantastic summer trip watching the Arsenal. However, there is still plenty of transfer news to discuss as well, and potential outgoings and incomings. We'll kick off with Nicolas Pépé, who yesterday was linked to the move to Sevilla. Chris, you probably saw these links that suggest that Arsenal and Pepe would both need to come down on their demands for transfer fee and wages. But then Pepe did take to his Snapchat to kind of hint at a possible stay. I don't know if you saw these kind of posts. It was a bit strange. It was a bit odd. There were fans saying, like, you know, real Arsenal fans know like how good you are. Another one that was like, please stay, please don't leave Arsenal. And he was like replying with like love hearts and stuff. Yeah, it was interesting. So what do you make of kind of the whole Pepe situation?
Pepe. Where do we start? I mean, look, it's a situation which we would expect to, I'd say, develop as the window goes on. I mean, as has been, you know, the sort of the situation with a lot of the players that are reportedly available at Arsenal. There's been very minimal movement, but as the window goes on, you know, teams maybe start to, you know, sort of start to ramp up their transfer business. Maybe they're reluctant to pay a certain figure to begin with, but as the window drags on, that they maybe get a bit desperate, the pressure's on them to do something and they end up paying. I mean, obviously I know there's been reports suggesting that Pepe could go to Sevilla in Spain, but at the moment they're unwilling to pay maybe the 25 million euro sort of fee that Arsenal are demanding. It's more towards sort of 15-18 million euros. So, you know, it's maybe a situation to keep an eye on. But, you know, all the sort of the signals, all the indications point towards Pepe leaving. And, you know, that's sort of been, you know, how it's looked, certainly from the outside anyway, for a while now. It's just been ultimately, it's just been a move that hasn't worked out. I think that's fair to say. We paid a big fee for him. You know, club record signing. And at the end of the day, we haven't seen the sort of the performances, the displays, the consistency from a £72 million player. And that's grown into frustration. That's grown into a lack of confidence from the player and also from the fans. Because, you know, when you spend that amount on a player, obviously at the time, I'm sure you were, TC, when he first signed, you know, we were excited. We were really intrigued to see how he would get on. Just had a fantastic season in France, of course. You know, the expectations were so up there. But those expectations were never met, unfortunately. And you just look at it, and obviously it's fantastic when a signing really pays off and it goes down well. But at the same time, it's also important to remember that these things can happen. It doesn't always work out, and unfortunately, that's been the situation with Pepe. So, that's settled with me now. That is the situation. He hasn't performed. We spent £72 million. Was it wasted? Oh, respectfully, it probably was. And that's the situation. We're going to deal with it now. We're going to make a big loss. Unfortunately, we're not going to get anywhere near amount. We're not going to get anywhere near that amount back, are we? So. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how it goes on this summer, TC. I'd still expect him to go somewhere, whether that's on loan or whether that's in a permanent. Obviously, in an ideal world, you want it to be a permanent deal. But there's just teams out there that haven't got the money, unfortunately. I'm sure Pepe's wage demands are pretty high as well. So we'll have to wait and see. But hopefully, the club and the players' side, obviously he's changed agents recently as well. Hopefully, they can meet in the middle somewhere, and a team comes in and is willing to pay what obviously we're demanding.
Some breaking news whilst we're live as well. Arsenal have confirmed the loan exit of Austin Trusty to Birmingham City on a season-long loan. We signed him, of course, from the Colorado Rapids, the other team owned by Stan Kroenke. It was kind of felt always that move was used to basically create a pathway for Trusty through to the European game. And we'll see now how he gets on in the Championship next season. But, he's a player with experience in the US men's national team, at youth level, at senior level, and of course also playing over 100 games, I think, in MLS. So an experienced young player, I think, at 23 years of age. And we hope that he has a successful year, returns to Arsenal the following summer, perhaps with potential of getting into the senior squad. We'll wait and see. It didn't work out for other players like Daniel Ballard, etc., who went on loan to the Championship, but this one might be slightly different. Let's talk about the big transfer story of yesterday, Chris, which of course was the news that Arsenal are in talks with Manchester City to try and sign Oleksandr Zinchenko. What are your thoughts around this one?
Excited. Really, really pleased to see the club appeared to have moved on quite swiftly from Lisandro Martinez. And I think I've said it on here before, TC. I've said it in articles I've done as well, that Zinchenko just makes so much sense, and he was sort of my ideal alternative to Martinez. I think the added bonus with bringing in someone like Martinez originally would have been, his ability to play at centre back as well as left back and defensive midfield. And the qualities that he possesses, that versatility, the technical ability on the ball, just his overall reliability as well as a defensive player. It would have been good to see him come in, but I think to then move on to Zinchenko would be really, really good business. He's very, very similar. And obviously he has similar versatility, especially play at left back, playing central midfield. Great on the ball, technically very, very good. And I guess with the added bonus that you wouldn't have got with Martinez is that he's Premier League proven as well. He's got winning pedigree coming from Manchester City. He's won trophies, worked under a very, very good manager in Pep Guardiola. And again, just like Jesus, he's someone that is familiar with Mikel Arteta. And again, it's been really interesting to see as this window has sort of progressed to see these links to certain players, players that have worked with Arteta before, players that have maybe, obviously with Fabio Vieira, we've seen it with Lucas Paquetá and the Tielemans links. These are players that are obviously playing now currently in positions to what Arteta played in as a player. Arteta knows these players well. His knowledge on them will be good. The relationships, obviously, with Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus playing a key role as well. So, it's encouraging. Really excited to see if this one gets done. And I'll be over the moon with his addition. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see what sort of impact it has on the other central midfield targets. Obviously, I mentioned there Lucas Paquetá and Yuri Tielemans. We know Zinchenko can play in central midfield. Whether or not that will have sort of a direct impact on them pursuits, we'll have to wait and see. I would imagine, TC, I'm sure you think the same as well, that he will be coming in, if he does, to play at left back and to provide competition support for Kieran Tierney. Obviously, we know he had so many injury troubles. And we know as well, Tavares, the subject of plenty of loan interest from abroad. So again, obviously, if he was to leave, Zinchenko coming in to fill in at left back makes much more sense. So it seems as if it's a deal that will pick up pace fairly quickly. Obviously, The Athletic reported that talks are already taken place, and I think if talks are taking place between the two clubs, Arsenal will have some sort of indication that they're willing to do business, that Zinchenko is willing to make that move as well. And I suppose similarly with the Jesus situation, I should know don't want to obviously jinx it or anything, but I'm relatively confident because of that connection between Arteta and the player, and also the two clubs as well. They have a good working relationship there now after the Jesus deal. So yeah, I'd expect it to move pretty swiftly over the next few days. Maybe even Arsenal would be sort of trying to get him over into the States. Although saying that, I think I read somewhere that Man City are in the States already. So again, that would be quite a smooth transition, hopefully, if it was to progress. So yeah, no, really excited to see how this one plays out. Be good to see him come in. I think it would be a great addition, brilliant bit of business. What are your thoughts on it, TCU? Just as equally as excited? You're on mute, buddy.
Classic. Did a Chris. I've done a Chris
yeah.
the day after. Yeah, no, I'm really excited about this. I think that he's going to be underrated and underplayed by quite a large portion of the fan base, maybe. I think that there is maybe a misunderstanding about how good he is, because obviously he's not regularly playing and starting for Manchester City. But when he does play, he's been excellent. In fact, looking at kind of the statistics into the play, yesterday I put a tweet out on my personal account talking about kind of the fact he's not coming in as a backup. If you look at his head-to-heads against the likes of Tierney and Tavares, looking at Premier League last season per 90, he wins in terms of goals conceded, tackle success, interceptions, chances created, dribble success, and actually looking at the ability of him to play in midfield. When you do a head-to-head for the Premier League in 21-22, all stats across 90 minutes, he's better in aerial duels 1 than Xhaka, tackles 1 than Xhaka, interceptions more than Xhaka, forward passes more than Xhaka, better chances created than Xhaka, better passing accuracy than Xhaka, possession 1 in the defensive third and the middle third. Only the defensive third, to be fair, better than Xhaka. Xhaka does win out the middle third only by 0.23 of a win per 90. So, he's coming out with these brilliant statistics. And I think what you might see as a criticism is people saying, well, he's playing at Man City, so obviously these stats are going to be good. And, in response to that, what I would say is consider Stefan Jovetic, consider Eloquim Mangala and Wilfried Bony and Fabian Delph, players that signed for a lot of money to Manchester City and couldn't put in the numbers. And so they didn't stick around. City got rid of them because they weren't happy with their output. Zinchenko has been one of the most lauded players by Pep Guardiola for what he can do, for what he does when he performs, for his versatility, for his ability to just absorb information and use that. There's a reason why they call him a bit of a sponge up there, because he just takes in every bit of information and applies it onto the field. I think 30 to 35 million pounds is a fair representation of the player that you're getting. Premier League quality, played several seasons at the top level and won plenty of titles and trophies with City. They don't need to sell. We've just seen Nico Williams move, from Liverpool to Nottingham Forest for 17 million pounds. Is Zinchenko twice the player than Nico Williams? Arguably more than twice the player than him. So, you can absolutely see why he's costing that kind of amount of money. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he brings to the team. If I had a genuine choice between spending 30 to 35 million on Zinchenko or more than 50 million on Lisandro Martinez, a player without any Premier League experience with a greater level of risk, and who isn't a left back, but that we were looking at to bring in to play as a left back, I think it's a good debate about which one would come in. Don't get me wrong, I wanted Martinez and I wanted to see that at Arsenal, but if you told me the alternative to him is Zinchenko, I have no qualms about missing out on him at all. It certainly softens that blow. What may not soften the blow, though, Chris, is a couple of stories about not only exits, but potential players that may not be ending up at Arsenal. Now, James Nicholas of The Athletic released a piece this morning which contradicted pretty much everything that had been reported on Lucas Paquetá prior to this point. The Athletic claiming that Arsenal's interest isn't anywhere near kind of advanced, or they're not really pushing for this move like has been suggested elsewhere. I'm not going to sit here and try and say this source is right, this source is wrong, because I think, Chris, what we've come to understand and what we've reported at football.london is that Arsenal are implementing strategies to try and limit the amount of information that does get out regarding their transfer business. And I think because of that, what we've seen is a big convolution of conflicting reports throughout the summer about lots of different transfer targets. So whilst this story coming out kind of pours a bit of cold water on the Paquetá deal for now, I'm not going to let it discourage me. And I think Arsenal's business so far shouldn't allow us to get discouraged necessarily.
Oh, absolutely not. No way. And obviously with the intensifying links and the progress that seems to be seems to have been made with the Zinchenko deal, then no, it should absolutely not discourage our sort of our progress so far in terms of the business done. I think, look, you've got to look at it this way, and that's we've got our star striker through the door in Gabriel Jesus, and we know he's going to be a top quality addition. Fabio Vieira, really excited to see him come in. Obviously, Porto fans devastated that he left. Just Portugal fans in general, gutted to see him leave the country. But although sort of happy to see him make that step to the Premier League, because they know he's good enough, that they see him as the next best Portugal sort of product coming out of Portugal. Marquinhos, again, really intrigued to see what happens with him. I think, he played it safe against FC Nuremberg the other week, but again, the early signs were encouraging. He's got a lot of talent. Physically, in a really good shape to have an impact in England right from the off. We'll see how he does moving forward in the next few weeks in pre-season. And obviously, we've got Bernd Leno's replacement already through the door, Matt Turner. So that's 4 new additions. I'm happy with what's been done so far. But obviously, as we creep ever closer to the start of the campaign, the Premier League season, you want to see more done. And obviously, we're seeing Zinchenko potentially coming in over the next few days. Again, that's the right step or a good step, in the right direction. You've mentioned Lucas Paquetá there and sort of that report from The Athletic. We obviously we'll just have to wait and see, because you sort of touched on it there. It's been unpredictable. I mean, I mentioned Fabio Vieira. That deal came out of absolutely nowhere. That wasn't previously reported. I think we'd been linked to him maybe earlier this year or whenever, but there was nothing solid there until this report came out, and all of a sudden, he was on his way to London to complete the move. And we've reported here at football.london, as you say, that Arsenal are looking to do business as quietly as possible, keep things silent. And, we've seen it, haven't we? Sometimes when you can put names out to the media or things leak out into the media, it can actually go against you when you're looking to get these deals done. And, if you keep things quiet, keep things close to your chest, maybe it sort of puts other clubs off. They don't know what you're up to, don't know what players you're looking at. For example, with Lisandro Martinez, maybe if it wasn't known that Arsenal were looking into signing him, Manchester United wouldn't have acted so decisively, so quickly. There's lots of different things that go on behind the scenes that we all aren't aware of. And I'm sure there's discussions with players and agents going on right now that just we are unknown to us at Arsenal. So look, there's a long time left, isn't there, this summer, or this transfer window. I'm still hoping that we bring in a new midfielder, because I just think that's sort of a key area. One injury to the lads in that position, and all of a sudden it becomes a lot less solid and strong. And I keep saying it on social media on here, that Tielemans opportunity for me, for the reported price of 25, 30, 35 million pounds, open to a move, wants to join Arsenal. I just think it's too good of an opportunity to ignore, TC, in my opinion. I'd be really, really surprised. I'd be disappointed, I think, more than anything, if Arsenal don't end up making that move. I don't mind if it isn't Paquetá, if we go for Tielemans, vice versa. As long as we go for one of them, I'd be happy. And look, very quickly, as I know I'm rambling on, but
that's not like you. What are you on about?
Shock, I know. I mentioned Marquinhos there. Look, his addition, he could surprise a few people. He could go and follow the path that Martinelli went down and end up being a really key player to the team. He's got the potential. He's got the talent. Okay, he's still very raw, but so is Martinelli when he joined the club. But I think if he has a really strong pre-season, he sort of, I guess, takes the pressure off us to getting a new right winger. And, if we end the window now with a central midfielder and Zinchenko, I wouldn't be too disheartened by. I wouldn't be too unhappy with that. I'd take that. I think the right winger at this moment in time, Tom, whether or not you agree, I think the right winger at this moment in time would be the icing on the cake. That would be the cherry on top. So we'll have to wait and see. But no, I'd say encouraging signs so far, and obviously all indications point towards Arsenal not being done yet. And I'd expect at least a couple more coming in, including Zinchenko.
Yeah, absolutely. Increasingly, reports coming out this morning are suggesting that Zinchenko deal is edging towards completion. So we seem pretty confident that that's a deal that Arsenal can get done this summer, which is excellent news, because it was a position on the field, left back, and the versatility to add into midfield was a really key position that Arsenal wanted, and they look like they're getting a Premier League ready and a Premier League quality player in for that. As you say, one of Tielemans, one of Paquetá. Either one of those two, and I'm very happy with the midfield addition that we make. Paquetá, although he's more advanced, can certainly play the left 8 role, which is a position that we needed to add. An inverted kind of left 8 role that both Tielemans and Paquetá can play. That was key. So either one of those would be very, very happy with that. And lastly, that forward line, Marquinhos is a player of 19 years of age, given a senior number, has jumped ahead of the queue of a number of youth players in the queue for that kind of position, which is potentially one of the reasons why we're seeing some whispers come out this morning that Amari Hutchinson could leave the club this summer. Now, it's a story that Amari Hutchinson is a player that I've been trying to get clarification on for a long time, because the last I was aware, his contract was running incredibly low, and that there wasn't that much time to kind of sort out what was going to be happening. He's represented, as far to my understanding, by Kia Jarabchin, who would be a name that a lot of people know very, very familiarly with. And the rumours coming out this morning, and we will quote the source. Is it the secret? Let me find it. It is the secret scout that have supposedly reported this. I can't verify this information at this point in time. There's been no cross-referencing, and we learned about this minutes before going live. So it's not like I've had a chance to chase anything up on this. But if it is true that Amari Hutchinson is making a move to Chelsea from Arsenal, I do think that the signing of Marquinhos probably had an impact on his decision. Whether or not him not being included in the tour for both Germany, because he didn't go to Germany either, or the US has played an impact, we don't know. But Chris, let's hypothetically suggest that he does make this move. It is a bit of a blow, because he is considered one of the best talents in the academy. Yeah,
it will be a blow. But equally, Tom, I'm very, very surprised at the potential destination here. Very surprised.
Doesn't make sense.
And I'm more worried for him, if anything, for his career, if he does make this choice, because okay, I can understand maybe the frustration that he has over the lack of opportunities with the first team. I know he's made the bench, maybe he's made a few appearances here and there. I remember when we went to Scotland pre-season, the last year, he went and he made a few appearances there. Looked pretty solid, because it's clear, he has a lot of potential, and he's been at the club since a very young age. But I still think, with the amount of games that we have to play this season, obviously there's the 5 substitutions being permitted now as well. I would be surprised if he didn't sort of have the opportunity to play with the first team this season in some capacity. But as you mentioned, Marquinhos' arrival could have changed things. We've still got Reece Nelson on our books as well. We don't know what's going to happen with him. So I can understand that side of things from his point of view, the uncertainty, the lack of opportunities moving forward. I mean, maybe a loan would have made sense. In the meantime, while we sort of see how these other players get on that we've already got, and sort of resolve their futures, if you like. I think a loan would have been good for him, would have been beneficial. He's just had a really, really good season with the under 23s and the under 21s. So yeah, big talent, and it would be a big loss. But as other people have quite rightly pointed out this morning on social media, when you've got such a successful academy with so many big talents, so many exciting prospects coming through the door, there's going to be times, there's going to be moments where you will lose one of them. And you know, if these reports are to be obviously believed, then Amari Hutchinson could be that one. But I would urge him, if it's, you know, maybe if it's not true, if he's maybe considering this move as things stand, I would urge him to reconsider. I really, really would. And just based off the fact that, you know, Chelsea are known for loaning out players consistently, they don't sort of provide many first team opportunities, and when they do, it's a rare occurrence. I mean, I just don't think this is a good move for him. But then again, he certainly has the potential. There's the talent to go and prove me wrong. But yeah, a very weird move, and not one I expected to prop up really this morning. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what's said throughout the day. I'm sure we'll hear more on it.
Oh, there is more breaking this morning. It does seem that there is more to this, and it does seem that this is going to be a move that takes place from the sounds of things. Now, as I said, I've been trying to get clarification on the length of his contract. I don't know if Arsenal will get any kind of fee for this. I'd be surprised if it was anything big. What I would say is that Arsenal have done very well of late to be able to sign up and keep hold of a lot of products that they thought were going to move on. You know, Balogun, Keon Edwards were two players in particular that Arsenal looked very, very likely to lose, and they managed to renew both of those players. So we'll see what happens with these guys. But I don't know ultimately who else is going to move on, but there's suggestions that more under-23s could yet leave between now and the end of the window. Make sure you keep up to date with all things Arsenal. Here we'll continue to update you with everything that goes on. Sorry we've not been able to go through many of your questions this morning. It's been a very busy morning indeed. Chris, thank you for your time. Always appreciate it.
Thank you, mate. Just one quick update to bring people on Zinchenko as well. I don't know if you've seen, but obviously our colleagues over at Manchester Evening News are reporting that Zinchenko looks likely to leave, as Arsenal have made progress on the deal. So, yeah, one to keep an eye on over the next few days, of course. Looks like there's growing confidence this one will get done. Certainly, you know, going in the right direction at the moment. But, yeah, thank you as ever, TC. Thank you to everyone tuning in, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Indeed. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Chatbox. Always appreciate your time. Do drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here with those notifications turned on so you never miss a show. We'll be back, of course, next Monday. There'll be no shows in the morning over the weekend as usual, but there will be more content dropping throughout the US tour. Our man Kai Kainak is on the ground, and we'll be getting regular updates from him as one of the very few accounts out there giving you live and on the ground updates from the tour. Indeed, your number one location to come for all of that good stuff. We will see you very soon, and as always, up the Arsenal.
49, 49, undefeated, playing for glory, Arsenal win.